Recording in progress. And I'm going to say to you, good day wherever you find yourself. I'd just like to say, welcome to 5M. A place for us to take a deep breath, a transformative self-care space. For us to create that as our physical space as well as our mental space. Welcome to 5M. Music, movement, meditation, mindfulness, and mantra. Whether you're joining me live right now in this experience, or if it's after the fact on a replay, I just want to say good day to you. And over here on Clubhouse, I'm going to hit up a few of my friends. Say what's up to my brother Micah, who I see hanging out. And I'm going to pin a link at the top of the screen, which is the background piano meditation that you're listening to. It's my newest meditation called 1%. And it was inspired by Maya Angelou, the great. I was on YouTube one day, and as I'm scrolling through, I come across a video that's called 1%. So because it had Maya Angelou, I decided to click it because Maya is one of my favorite. I click the screen, click the play button, and then I hear this talk. This talk that really touches me to the point of writing an original piece of music to it, and then later presenting it at my own self-care, holistic health and wellness indoor festival, The Experience Live. So I was inspired. I'm actually going to play that clip here in this experience. I'm going to grab it on YouTube in as soon as I get a few more people with me to be able to hear this amazing take on what would happen if just 1% of the world was different. What would happen if just 1% of people did 1% of things differently? And if you ever heard of the butterfly effect, then one thing that you know is that something as simple as the rippling of wings and the way that it just slightly changes the pattern of air right in front of it can set off a chain reaction, and does set off a chain reaction. And it has long range effects. And so that's what Maya realized in her talk. 1%. So I was inspired to write this piece. So if you enjoy this, in fact, I've already pinned it. You can look at the top of the screen there in Clubhouse. And if you click on that, it'll add right to your library, wherever you listen to music already. So if you have a Spotify playlist, it adds right to it. iTunes adds right to it. Amazon adds right to it. Apple Music, that's me, adds it right to it. And you can meditate to that. Today we're talking about the power of presence, why it's important, why we use it, why it's just a part of who we are. And I've got a few articles here that I'm going to read, and we're going to chop it up about that subject. But in the meantime, I just invite you to take a deep breath. Chances are, if you're like me, you've had a very busy week. You moved around, you've done some things, you've been here, there, and everywhere, or maybe not. Maybe your life was chill this week, and maybe we should have switched places, goddammit. But either way, wherever you find yourself, it's okay. We all need the opportunity to take a deep breath, because maybe every now and again, right? It keeps us alive. It's our life force. So I invite you to settle in and to just take a deep breath as we enter this experience and as we travel down the road of self-care, the 5M experience. I'm going to let a little bit more of this piano meditation play just so you can settle in. And then we're going to hang out for a second, meet and greet, and get this experience started. 1%. My original composition inspired by the great Maya Angelou. So now what I'm going to do is, right before we get into this experience, I just mentioned the inspiration behind this. And so now what I'm going to do is to go and share. I'm going to share this video to show you what I wrote this music to, 1%. You're going to hear Maya Angelou talk about what if 1% of the world did 1% of things differently. I hope that you enjoy this. This was my inspiration.
How do I think the world would be if 1% of the world's population was complaint-free? Einstein said no genius has ever used more than 18% of the brain. But today's geophysicists say no genius has ever used more than 10% of the brain. The majority of us mumble and get around with 5, 6, 7%. If we've been able to stay alive at all, alive and future thinking, alive and having enough courage to care for each other, enough courage to love, and know that we're probably 1% free. I mean, let's 1% of 60 million free of complaints. Imagine, who would we be? Who would we be if we were 1% of 600 million, 6 billion? What would happen? I tell you one thing, I think war would be laughed out of the room. I think the very word, if somebody said war, another person would say, you mean, am I supposed to kill somebody because he doesn't agree with me? I don't think so. Just imagine. People would speak kinder, more kindly to each other. Courtesy would be invited back into the living room, into the bedroom, into the children's room, into the kitchen. If 1% of our world was complaint-free, we would care more about the children and realize that every child is our child. The black one and the white one, the pretty one, the plain one, the Asian and the Muslim, the Japanese and the Jewish, everyone is our child. If we were just 1% free of complaint, imagine that we would stop blaming other people for our mistakes and hating them because they caused the mistake in our minds. Just imagine if we laughed more frequently, if we had the unmitigated courage to touch each other. It would be just the beginning of paradise, Thank you.
The great Maya Angelou. If 1% of those things were different, who would we be? I like when she said that, because that is the question. And so that's the question that we enter this experience with. I want to say hello to everyone that's here. Micah, Andrea, Dave, those that's hanging out with me over here on Facebook Live. Happy Sunday to you. Who would we be? So if you're in Clubhouse and you like to come up to the stage, by all means, I would love to say good morning to you, check in, see how you're doing, and see if, so far, this topic has brought up any thoughts for you as we move into this 5M experience. And if not, if you're just hanging out and making this your background experience for your morning, I hope that it is soothing. If 1% of the world was different, who would we be? So one thing I know is that if we all do 1% of something different in our life, I know we will be much better people. And we all know that. We all know that there's something that we can do that's just a tiny piece of the pie in our lives to make things better. I think that the most significant thing we can do in that 1% place is to take a break, take a pause, take a moment to just breathe. It's just that many times in the hustle and bustle of life, we don't get the opportunity to do that, or we don't just take the opportunity. So I'd like to invite you into that opportunity right now with me as we take a moment to take a deep breath and breathe. You can settle in, and if you're in a place where it is safe, you can close your eyes and just take a deep breath. Fully in and out. Go ahead and take another deep breath in. Let it fully out. And one more final deep breath in. As they say, one for the road and out. Even though it's something that we need and it's something that we're doing, even if it's subconsciously, we don't put enough emphasis on just breathing, just being with our breath. And so one of the ways today that we're going to talk about breathing is through this concept of being present. In order to be present, there's no better way to be present than to start being present with your life force. The thing that you are doing all day long, because you couldn't be surviving if you weren't doing it, but it's the thing that's paid the least attention to by all of us. So at least for a few moments, we can say no more, or we take that for granted, or just let that moment pass by. We can just take a moment to settle in to our breathing. Being present is all about being aware of where you are right in the very moment. Experiencing all the feels, as they say, and just being right there with it. Sometimes that can be tough. Other times it can be a breeze. Most importantly, is taking the moment to just be. Present is what we need in order to center in in order to settle down, in order to not let not only the negative things not get us down, but also the overwhelmingly positive things, not letting anything remove us from our place of center and of groundedness. The only way to be in that place is that you have to be intentional about creating that place in that space. And the cool thing is that the easiest way comes in what just took place. Just taking a moment to be with your breath. So continue to breathe in and out, releasing as much tension as you can that you might not have known a second before was actually there. Start to scan your head from the top. And as you come down and as you continue to breathe, just focus on those places to see if there's any tension that resides in that area. Imagine this process is like a beam of light, like a laser beam that's just coming over the top of your body, scanning all the way down each part. And as it scans, you check in that area to see if there's anything that's taking place there. Any tension that you may not have known that you're having, you can just release. Even though you felt like your shoulders were relaxed, you can go from relaxed to extra relaxed and relax even more in that area. You can realize that you didn't know that you had tension in your forehead just because of the way that you were holding your expression, but that you can release. And with each breath that you breathe, imagine that you're just flushing out that space with your breath. Almost like a water hose, or an air hose rather, that's just flushing. Imagine each breath is just a gush of air. And wherever you are tense, check your jaw to see if you're holding your jaw tightly, and if so, relax. Check your neck. You can even take a second to just slowly roll your head from side to side in half circles, as I am right now, just to loosen up the tension that you didn't know was there. Take a second to roll your shoulders back in circles, even if you're driving. That's the cool part about this. You don't have to be in the perfect place, because there is none, in order to be present with your body and scan and just release these tensions. Take a second to roll your shoulders forward, just in a circular motion, relieving the tension that you didn't know was there. Take a second, if you are like how I am, in a chair, even if you're driving, to just drop your arms down to your side, or your arm even. And then just start to wiggle your fingers in order to get the kinks out. Even if your knuckles crack while you do it, that's okay. You can take a second to shake your arms, just to shake the tension out of your arms. Just shake it loosely, just like a kid. You know, like if a kid was anxious and they were trying to tell you something, they were excited, they would just shake their arms on their side. Just shake your arms. Bring the scan down to your abdomen. And if you've been holding it tight because you've been nervous or anxious, take a second to breathe in. And as you inhale, expand your stomach as you inhale. And as you exhale, contract. Do it one more time. Inhale, expand. Exhale, contract. One more time. Inhale, expand. Exhale, contract. And then take the scan down to your hind parts, all your other private parts. Take it down and go through your quads. Sometimes this is the place where we clench and hold ourselves. Sometimes this is where the most fear resonates, in our growing area. So just take a second to breathe into these areas, to flush. Take it down your legs to your calves, your hamstrings. If you're standing or walking or jogging, good for you. Take it all the way down to your feet and even wiggle your toes. Just wiggle your toes in the same way that you did your hands. When I do this, my toes crack like 1,000,000 times. And it feels so good afterwards. I can feel the tension. Think about how much you put on your feet every day. Let's put ourselves in the position of our feet. You have all the weight of just walking around. You have the weight of carrying boxes and groceries, which add to your body weight. You have the weight of going up and down stairs. Then you have the weight that comes along with the emotions and the mental that the person is going through and how it resonates in different parts of the body. Put yourself in the position of your feet. And then take a second with your next breath and just flush it all the way through the bottoms of your soles. Use your imagination to just picture a flush of air just pushing through the bottoms of your feet. And release. Release. Take a few more moments to be present with these next couple of breaths, which are inevitable because you have to breathe to live. And let's just stay present as if nothing else matters but breathing, because it does. If you're seated in a chair or a place where you can reach up above your head, take your hands and interlock them. Interlock your fingers, turn your palms to face outward and push up. Just hold your hands above your head with your fingers interlaced and your palms facing up. I promise you, this is one of my favorite stretches because it expands your lungs. You get a chance to get this tension out of your neck and your shoulders and reach up high. And you can bring your hands down into your chest. Namaste. I hope that you feel well. I hope that you feel even more well than when we started. And if you do, then I'd like to hear from you. So by all means, if you are on Clubhouse and you'd like to come to the stage, I would love to check in. I would love to see, how did that feel? It's always the most important thing to me. In the words of D'Angelo, how does it feel? How did that feel to release in that way? How did it feel to check in with your breath for a few moments? How did it feel just to be present? One other thing I want you to do right now is to just take a moment to thank yourself. I even invite you to say your name and say thank you. Aaron, thank you. Self-gratitude is important. It can't be overstated. Taking a moment to be grateful to yourself for putting aside a few moments to be present with your breath, with your surroundings, with your body, is you making a deposit into your wellspring of self-care. And whether you do it for 10 seconds, 10 minutes, or 10 hours, if you do it for 10 hours, why are you still here? That's all I want to know. Like, what are you, why are you still here? Is there anything left for you to do? Wherever you find yourself, 10 seconds, you should thank yourself and you should be grateful, because being grateful to yourself and feeling successful is more than half the battle to the relieving and releasing of stress and to your goal of positive self-care. So take a moment to say thank you to you. And I want to thank you for taking a few moments with me so that we can share it together. So again, I'm curious, how did that feel? If you'd like to share, by all means, throw up a wave, come onto the stage, even if it's just to check in to say hey. And if you're on Facebook, I'd like to say hey. And in a few seconds, as soon as I can navigate to my screen, I can see what you've been saying. Micah, I like the change profile pic, bro. I saw that you changed the clothes, brother. I like that. In this next segment, family, we are going to explore this topic of what it means to be present. I have an article here, and I'm going to read from it, and we're going to chop it up for a few about it. Again, don't forget to add the background music to your archive. All you got to do is just click it and it'll save right to your playlist wherever you already listen to music. power of being present. What does that mean to you? I'm curious. What does that mean to you? And again, the invitation is open even if you want to share it there. What does it mean to you to be present? So I'm going to share a different musical piece with you all. This is a tune that I wrote called Yellows of Spring. And this is also another meditation that if you like, you can add right to your playlist and continue to enjoy. I'll put the link here on Clubhouse. I'll put the link at the top of the screen. A little bit of backstory. I wrote this in my birthday month in 2018. It was a spring morning, and I was inspired by just life, nature blooming, the newness of spring. And so I was at Center for Spiritual Living, Columbia. We were performing there, and I was playing a meditation, and this was the improvisation that came out. I had on a yellow shirt with stripes on it. And when I went home later that day, I was like, this is a tune, Yellows of Spring. So I hope you enjoy this. Be right back with this topic of what it means to be present. The power of being present. That's what I typed into a Google search in order to start getting some thoughts. I know what this topic means to me. I mean, this is, to be honest, probably the most important thing in my life that allows me to be who I am, all the way down to this very moment. It's always practicing the power of being present and trying my best to be present at every turn. So when I look this up, as other topics, I'm always looking to take something that I have a lot of experience with and to rehash it, to completely dig it up from its root, hear another perspective. Hear the first perspective that I ever heard, maybe even hear the most elementary or basic perspective, just because I know that as life has gone on, that I'm at a new place where I'll see something that may be elementary or simple, and it may be even more profound to me now because of how I've come in life and my experiences and how I've grown and all these kind of things, all that I learned. So that's where we find ourselves, and that's where I find myself with this topic. So this is from The Power of Being Present, a little excerpt. Being present becomes then a way to handle any problem, any distraction, any stressor. It allows everything else to just fade away, leaving only you and whatever you're dealing with right now. Being present can keep us calmer, happier, and more in tune with our emotions. I like that summation. I think that put it into really good perspective. So, this article here that I'm going to read is called The Beginner's Guide to Being Present. And this is by healthline.com. I'm actually going to put this in the chat of the live stream if you're joining me live on Facebook. And if you're not and you want to join me live on Facebook, just come on over to Facebook at aaronhilltv, and you can find me by looking for the red and black profile picture. The power of being present. Why it really matters. That's the question. Why does it matter? As your physical self moves throughout the day, does your emotional self keep up? Do your thoughts accompany you from task to task, or does your mind just drift and wander, making it challenging to pay attention to conversations or to recall what you were just doing? Your body can physically inhabit a space when your mind is elsewhere. And this tuning out might happen more often when you feel bored, stressed, or otherwise preoccupied. Being present or living mindfully, whatever you want to call it, it simply means that you're focused and engaged in the here and now, not distracted or mentally absent. So the question is it really that important? Well, as mindfulness and meditation practices become more mainstream, mindful living is having a moment. It's the whole idea of being present. It's just the whole idea of being present just the latest fad being embraced by wellness enthusiasts? No, hell no. After all, who really pays attention to every little thing? And that's just the thing. Luckily, being present appears to live up to all the hype. And here's why. Number one, it can make it easier to manage your stress. On a personal note, for me, Aaron Hill, this is the reason why I am building the 5M Mindfulness and Meditation app. It's to help you and to help me and all of us to manage our stress. Many people respond to emotional distress and uncertainty by disengaging from the source. And it can certainly seem counterintuitive to stay present while you're feeling anxious or nervous. Distracting yourself from unwanted or unpleasant thoughts can bring short-term relief, but you can't permanently hide from reality. Acknowledging fears and stress triggers and working to mindfully accept them can have more benefit in the long run. It's that acknowledgement, people. Whatever you resist persists, and whatever you fight, you ignite. A 2016 study of 143 adults found evidence to suggest cultivating present moment awareness could make it easier to cope not only with a single stressful event, but also later stress on the same day, as well as stressful events in the future. Let me tell y'all something. With everything I know and everything I put my name on, I have been shouting this from the rooftops. The way I've been describing it is when you take a few moments, a lot of times it's good at the beginning of your day because you can try to get in these few moments before life just whisks you away. You know what happens when we get into our day. And so I call it knocking the top off. Like all of us have stress. It's a normal part of life. The thing is, it's like it's like this cup that I have in front of me. Now, a few minutes ago, this cup was filled with water. Well, it actually wasn't. It should have been filled with water. When you have a cup that's filled, at one point it was filled, I drank it down. When it's filled like this to the top, if that's your stress, then what that means is if you pour more into it at the top, for those that's watching me on or not watching me on audio, that was water I poured. Sound like I just took a leak. If this was filled, when I add that water to the top, then it goes over the top. Taking a few moments for yourself is like knocking down this top so that the cup is only halfway filled. That way, as you go on your way and you go throughout your day and those natural things come in, those natural worries or things come up, unforeseen circumstances, all these things, then as your cup becomes a little bit more filled because there's a bit more going on, it doesn't throw you over the top. It has a ways to go before you get there. This is preventative maintenance. So taking a few moments, like how we just did, to just be with your breath. 30 seconds, 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. You're doing yourself the biggest favor, because it can help you to make it easier, not only to cope with a single stressful event, but later stress on the same day, as well as stressful events in the future. Here's the second thing. It helps to relieve mental health symptoms. According to research from a 2019 mindfulness and meditation study, mindfulness practices, including present moment awareness, may help reduce symptoms of anxiety and depression. When you focus on the present moment, you're paying attention to the things currently happening. These events might range from joyous to downright heartbreaking or anywhere in between. If you're going through a tough time, you might understandably wonder how increasing your awareness of these experiences can affect you. And here's how. Mindfulness helps you to recognize anxious or depressed thoughts as just that, thoughts. There are so many things, people. Oh my goodness. So many things that we worry about from day to day. And we have these overwhelming fears about that may have their place as concerns to a degree, but just downright nightmare, fear, horror stories, they might not even be at that point yet, but we may be mentally. And so sometimes our fear isn't proportioned correctly to the thing that we are fearing. Now, your body doesn't know the difference. And sometimes your mind doesn't know the difference. If it just fears, it fears. I say we're subject to our emotions more so than we are in control of them, but we have the ability to influence them through moments like this. Thank you for being present in this opportunity, in this moment. So when you focus on the present moment, you're paying attention to the things currently happening. These events may range from joyous to downright heartbreaking or anywhere in between. And if you're going through a tough time, you might want to know how these things can affect you. Here's the next thing it can do. It can strengthen your relationships. Oh, wait a minute. One thing I missed. Mindfulness helps you recognize anxious or depressed thoughts as just thoughts. Eventually, this is the part, you can learn to recognize these thoughts as you notice them and interrupt their patterns before they trap you in a spiral of distress. This is the goal right here. This is the treasure. This is the home run hit right here. Eventually, you can learn to recognize these thoughts as you notice them and interrupt their patterns before they trap you in a spiral of distress. That's the only difference between a person who is well and a person that's going through hell when it comes to this. It's literally that one may be more proactive and had more control at interrupting the thoughts and the patterns that were there. So they're just not confused by them. Whereas the other person may be caught up in the spiral and in the whirlwind. Here's the third thing it can do, it can strengthen your relationships. Have you ever spent time with a friend or partner who kept looking at their phone or saying, sorry, what? Maybe you've been one to lose the train of the conversation when you had something else on your mind. Everyone gets distracted from time to time, but when this happens, often it can negatively affect relationships. No one wants to feel ignored. So if you constantly seem distracted or disinterested in what your loved ones or the person that's just in front of you has to say, they may start to really think that you don't really care. A set of 3 studies from 2018 found evidence to suggest that mindfulness can promote increased acceptance in romantic relationships. Being more present with your partner also seems to have a positive impact on relationship satisfaction overall. So instead of letting your mind wander to your partner's quirks or mistakes or things you wish that they would do, try focusing on the moment to moment experience of your relationship, the positive experiences. This can make it easier to both enjoy the many things you appreciate about your partner and address problems or concerns as they happen. Here's where to start. Committing to being present can feel particularly challenging in turbulent times, especially if you tend toward avoidance as a coping strategy. Try thinking of the whole thing like a pair of new shoes. At first, it might seem uncomfortable and not quite right, but over time, you may begin to realize you're living your days more mindfully without even thinking about it. Just like those new shoes eventually start to wear in and feel as comfortable as your beloved worn out kicks. Shout out to my worn out tennis shoes that I've been told before by partners to throw the hell away. I ain't throwing them things away. They're comfortable, god damn it. And here's why. Here's the evidence to prove it. All right. So are five, next are a few exercises to help you to get the ball rolling. Right before we go into that, I just want to check in with my people. If there's anyone on Clubhouse that either has a question or would like to chime in here, if there's something that's come up in thought for you around what I've been sharing so far, I would love to know your thoughts. And if not, all good. We're going to talk about these exercises that we can do to help ourselves to be present. So, using your 5 senses for observation. Most people say, most people pay some level of attention to what they see and what they hear. Ask yourself whether you use other senses with that same regularity. Being more present is often as simple as savoring the taste and fragrance of your morning tea or coffee, relishing the softness of your favorite sweater or partner, noting distant sounds like music, your neighbors' voices, birds' songs, and so on. Enjoying the warmth of the water on your skin as you shower or wash your hands. Let me tell y'all something. The other day, and even this morning, in fact, like, you know how you have those times where you just get reacquainted with a nice, long, hot shower? You're like, oh my gosh, this is like, first of all, this is presence 101. Secondly, this is the best body massage ever. So these are things that you can do to stay present. That old saying, stop and smell the roses, that isn't bad advice at all. If you have the ability to use all 5 senses, practice observing what you feel, smell, or taste. The next thing you can do, which is what we just finished doing, is focusing on your breath. Deep breathing and other breathing exercises help you to remember to take a moment and mindfully connect with your surroundings and your inner source. You might find these particularly helpful while driving in traffic or during other times of stress. Breathing exercises can help you to ground yourself and to help you to avoid distracting yourself further by ruminating on worries or picking up your phone. Breathe in slowly, focusing on the sensation of your lungs expanding and filling with air. Hold and breathe for a count of 3 and then release it slowly. It's one way to practice. Here's another thing to practice. Practice gratitude. Sound familiar? It is a concept that gets thrown around a lot, but practicing gratitude can make a big difference in your ability to remain present. By taking time to embrace and reflect on your appreciation for aspects of your life, you're also paying more attention to them. We often feel grateful for something until we're in danger of losing it. Maybe your present situation isn't ideal. You might feel as if you don't have much to be grateful for, but try to recognize small positives like sunshine, your loved ones, a working internet, and maybe even a roof over your head. Next, stick with it. As with all new habits, it can take some time before mindfulness becomes a regular part of your daily life. Don't get discouraged, though, if you don't notice change overnight. It can take some time to build these techniques into your daily life, but don't let that deter you. If you notice your thoughts wandering, then just gently bring yourself back to the present without judgment or negative self talk, because mindfulness will come more easily with time and practice. When I went back to the foundational definition of what mindfulness meant, I thought I knew, right? I'm like, yeah, it just, means somebody else is doing something. You're like, oh, they're doing that. I'm not going to do this. And that is true. But there was something that jumped out at me. It jumped off of the Wikipedia page or the Google search. And it was not just being present in this way, but removing your judgment, the judgment of yourself, the judgment of the situation, judgment of the other person. And that had new light for me because I was like, wow, that right there is the gold nugget. The difference between most people that are well and not mentally are how we go through and how we beat up on ourselves or not, or lift ourselves up and support ourselves through regular life, daily scenarios and situations. So the most important thing is that non-judgment. You can take this also to work with you. Staying present is the key when it comes to managing work-related stress and being productive. Your job may not always interest or challenge you, but remaining present can help you to stay productive even when you feel bored. Use your break time mindfully. What's the first thing you do when you start your break at work? There's nothing wrong with checking with your phone or grabbing a snack, but give yourself a few minutes before you get into all of that for mindfulness first. I would say take 3 minutes to go to your car, 5 minutes, and just separate. My car is my favorite because it's like my little sanctuary, right? I get to shut out most of the noise, especially from where I came from, and just kind of get into a space. Closing your eyes and doing a quick body scan can help you to note areas of stress or tension. Sometimes just acknowledging these feelings can help to relieve them. Take a few deep breaths, imagining stress and tension leaving your body with each exhale. Also, consider changing up your break by taking a walk. A few minutes outside, feeling fresh air can help you to be more present and stay connected. Wow, this is a lot here. Let me tell you, I'm going to pause here because this article is like really in depth. I'm loving this, and I'm wondering what you're thinking of it. There's like several more topics, and I don't want to just read through because it'll be pretty long before I check in. So the next thing is taking it, uh, moving mindfully between activities, and what happens to do if you feel stuck, building it into your relationships. Oh, this is amazing. This is amazing. Then it even gets down to practicing with the kids. All right, so this is like the halftime because I think I am gonna go a bit further with this. But before I do, just want to check in with you. Now, Zille, thanks so much for popping in, brother. Micah and Andrea, I imagine that unless your phone is frozen, you're enjoying this. So I appreciate you for hanging out. If there's any thoughts that you have that you like to share, by all means, you can throw up a wave, come to the stage, even if it's just to say, hey, check in. And if not, because you are using this as a background experience for your day, I just appreciate you for hanging out and being a part of this. All right. Chris Young. Chris says, I'd be happier to be disabled. That is interesting, brother. I would love to know what the hell you mean by that. Drop a line, bro, if you want to expand on that or expound on that. All right. So next up here is moving mindfully between activities. Once you finish a task, take a minute to rest instead of just rushing immediately to the next item on the list. My mentor taught me this when I was 19. You know, he saw how excited I was to learn and have experiences. I was going to school for engineering. I was studying orchestration. I was in arranging school. I was doing everything. And he's like, baby boy, before you go between one experience and the next, take a minute to pause, reflect, regroup, digest, regenerate yourself. I was like, but I'm okay though. I like because I'm young and hungry. He's like, trust me. And I'm glad that I did because it made a huge difference. So try praising yourself for doing your best. Appreciate other people, your family, your friends, your coworkers who also helped you out. Don't think about what comes next all the time. Just take a mini break to simply exist. If you feel stuck, check in with yourself. When you feel stalled on something you don't particularly want to do, you might just sit there. You might just sit there. This often disrupts your productivity and workflow. You might just want things to just work out while you let your thoughts wander. Where they do that at? Instead of forcing yourself to keep going, consider what's confusing and how you might handle the problem. Could you ask someone? Could you try a different approach? Could you save it for another day when you might feel more refreshed? Even if you can't find a specific solution, just sitting with the problem for a moment could make all the difference, and it could help provide some insight on the next step. Think about that. Take a minute to just pause. Building it into your relationships. The time you spend with your loved ones matters. Bringing mindfulness into the equation can help you to deepen your bond. Think about the times that you spend, think about how you spend your time together. When you see friends or family or spend some time at home with your partner, how do you pass the time? Scrolling through your phones together may not be the best way to connect, though there's nothing wrong with occasionally doing this. But try to change up the routines by playing a board game, planning a garden, prepping a meal together, creating a new workout. You can also enjoy time together doing anything in particular. Simply sharing a relaxing moment with a loved one can help strengthen your connection to the present and increase your sense of relaxation and calm. So embrace your playful side as well. When you feel anxious as hell and stressed, life can be pretty dismal, but taking the time to joke and have fun with loved ones, that might be the last thing that's on your mind. But laughter can help you to relieve tension and improve your mood. I say this all the time. Sure, a more lighthearted mindset won't completely relieve the concerns that you're facing, but humor and joy can help you to weather the stress more easily. So find or create and be intentional about moments that encourage smiles and laughter, like playing a game you loved as a child, like tag or hide and seek, writing and acting out a short skit, or attempting to draw portraits of each other. This is so good. Practice active listening. One simple step to keep yourself more present in any relationship involves active or empathic listening. Give conversations your full attention by making eye contact, asking questions, validating the other person's experiences. Like, wow, that must be so difficult. Or I'm sorry to hear that. This shows that you care about what the other person has to say and that you are really there for them. Practice with kids. Parenting is a challenging job. It's tough to stay present all the time. You ever give your kids permission to do something you didn't really ask them to do? Only later, when your carpet is speckled with blue paint, do you realize that you said they could paint in the house. Kids notice when you only half listen or constantly seem distracted. In time, they might respond by sharing less with you. I know what that feels like. To be more present, try these tips. You'll also help your children to become more mindful in the process. Encourage family detachment from devices. Does your family rely on smartphones and computers to get through the day? Yes, these devices are useful and they can help us to stay connected, get work done, and unwind, but it's still helpful to take some time away from technology each day. This allows you to focus on interacting with each other and strengthening your bond as a family. Set some no tech times and honor these limits your damn self. For example, you might avoid devices at meal times, which promotes mindful eating. During family time, walk, game nights, or family movies, an hour before bedtime, maybe. Dedicate time for fun. No matter how busy or stressful life becomes, it is important to create positive experiences with your family. The time you share can strengthen your bond and help improve your outlook. So when you look back on difficult times, you might notice the stressful memories have faded, while the moments of happiness and joy that you shared remain strong and clear. Live in the moment by dropping everything to have an impromptu game of hide and seek, by putting on a family play, by having family read alouds. My daughter and I like to go to like trampoline parks, or, I like to take the kids to the garden just to look at the flowers or just anything. My favorite place used to be the playground. Like, oh gosh, the kids are younger. That's why I want to build. I've been for a while wanting to build this place called Playground World for kids. That's just like it's like the amusement parks of playgrounds. And so my family and I we went to this place called Annie's Playground. That was like the closest version of it. I found this playground just to bring my vision to life, just to be somewhere where I could see an example or somewhat of an example of what I wanted to create. And it was amazing. If you check out my Kinda Daily vlogs on YouTube at aaronhilltv, I'm actually going to put that up there, maybe even today. Teach gratitude and compassion. Showing appreciation for everyday things is an important component of mindfulness. Your kids will learn from your example and the occasional gentle reminder. So encourage mindful appreciation and kindness by sharing resources with others, offering kind words and validation, pointing out the bright side of seemingly unpleasant situations, and regularly voicing your love and appreciation for your children, partner, and other loved ones. Encourage them to appreciate each moment by doing so your damn self. When taking a walk, you might point out sunlight playing through the trees, the warmth of the sun on your face, or the fragrance of different plants. Here's the last part. We're finally at the end. This is the bottom line. Each moment in your life has meaning, whether you notice that importance immediately or sometime down the line. Making the most of life as it happens rather than wishing for the past or worrying about the future can improve your quality of life and help you to feel more optimistic and prepared to face any challenge. And this article was by Crystal Rapole. I'm actually going to put it in the comment section of the Facebook video. I said I was going to do that before and I got distracted. I wasn't being present. Well, actually, I got distracted because I was being so present. All right. So here's the article we read. I encourage you to grab this article. I encourage you to take it from the top, just experience it again. Because to be honest, that was a very thorough article that gave me a lot. That gave me a whole lot on this topic. I'm curious if it gave you anything. So last call here on Clubhouse. If you would like to come to the stage, by all means, I would love to check in with you, say hi, see if you've enjoyed this experience, and also to see if this resonated anything for you, if it brought up any thoughts for you, anything that you like to share. I would love to hear. And if not, by all means, I thank you so much for enjoying this experience. Thank you for taking a moment for you to be able to relax, settle in, breathe for a few, and just be present. This song here is Truth Meditation by yours truly with Akil Raphael on Still Pond. I hope that you enjoy this. So I just refreshed the link that's above our heads as you continue to enjoy this meditation. You can click on that link And you can go ahead and save this meditation right to your phone immediately. It'll take you to wherever you already listen to music. So click that link and enjoy the rest of Truth Meditation from the Key Reflections album. Truth meditation. And so last but not least, last thing I want to share with you is that I'm going to go ahead and pin here on Clubhouse is the link to Be Present. This entire experience was about being present. And so I created a guided meditation that features the music that you heard earlier. And it features myself sharing and guiding you in a brief meditation on being present. I'm sharing this because you can replay this, you can save this and use this. This is from YouTube. This is a YouTube video. If you look at the top of your screen, this is from my 5M Mindfulness and Meditation new YouTube channel. And so that Be Present meditation, you can save it and use it to take a few moments to settle in, to be present at any given time. So I want to say thank you so much for being who you are and for taking a moment for you to self-care and love on you by being a part of this experience. Giving yourself gratitude is more than half the battle. So to remember, you have the power of taking a deep breath, to be thankful to yourself for doing it, and continue on this journey. Andrea, I want to say thank you so much for hanging out. I hope that you're well, and I hope that you enjoyed this experience. Thanks to Chris, Micah, Krista. Thanks to Dave, everyone who hung out today. Thank you for being you. And to those that are listening on the replay, I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Next Sunday and every Sunday, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, the 5M experience, music, movement, meditation, mindfulness, and mantra. I look forward to seeing you next week and the week after that, and after that, and after that. Take care and be well.